Hey everyone, this is Scott. I'm just going to go over and show a quick way to create a animation pipeline to go. It's like the poor man's anim pipeline. And usually what happens is you get a file that has animation, but the animation, you don't want to really actually render that. So if we look at this anim file, you can see we have this robot and he's got a skeleton, and what we want to do is we want a nice clean light file. 90% of all render errors on the farm are usually from either using memory or from using a rig for your animation file, for your light file, I'm sorry. So what we want to do is actually extract all the crap, take the skeletons, take all the expressions, all the deformers, everything. We want to remove that from our light files, and it's really a good practice to have. So let me show you how to do that. And you know, everything I'm doing, even though it might be a 30-minute video, you could probably do like a few buttons to do an import and then an export if you have someone that knows Python, or not even that, just Mel scripting, because we're going to basically be using FBX. But what I want to show you is how to set things up knowing that, and we can then pull this model into our light file or nuke or anything else. So to do this, let's go and open up the rig. So if we open this rig up, what you're going to see is we have this char. Under char we have anim scale and then model geo. All your animation crap can go under here, and then the geometry, we have non-deforming geo and then we have deforming geo. So we're not going to just have everything smooth bounded, because this is a robot, he's very rigid. So and the other thing you'll notice is that we do not want to have geometry parented under the bones. That's a no-no. Second of all, even though you see the pieces parented with a constraint, parent constraint, the best thing to do is you want to always group the geometry and then take the group node and actually parent constrain that to the skeleton. So you can always replace the geo without having to redo your constraints. And what I usually do is I say, hey, you modelers, riggers, you guys go crazy, just follow these two rules and then give me back some geometry and from the rig, and I'll basically take this rig and extract the geometry and then start doing my shading and lighting. So to create a lighting asset, let's just go over a few things. So you want to make sure that there's this set, and to create the set you just grab the geo that's going to be applied to the my cache, and we want to go create sets, and then we'll call it cache set. So this is all the this is all the deforming geo. The second thing we want to do is we want to strip out the skeleton. So if we hit the skeleton and go delete, we should be left with only the groups for the modeling and then the character. All you want to do is make sure you have these. Second thing we want to do is we want to select everything, and we're going to go unlock selected. Perfect. Okay. So now that we have that, what I usually like to do is make sure that there's the Lambert material over every piece of geometry. And we already have this, and there's no per poly shader assignments. I don't know who uses that other than video games, but if you're doing VFX work, don't ever do per poly shader assignments. They do a lot of damage in render layers if you actually like to use render layers. I don't recommend it. Okay, so the second thing we want to do is we want to basically clean the scene file. This scene file is actually might have hidden nodes in it, it might have expressions. We just want to make sure that we do not carry through anything in this rig file over. So what I'm going to do is I'm select the geo only, and I have a little script that's basically going to export this to a temp file, and it's going to export only this. So now if we go new scene, I hit import, here's our model. Okay, and we have our cache file, our set for the cache, and then we have our geometry. So this is actually what we want to do. So now what we can do is I can go in here and I can start doing my look dev. So my look dev is consist of creating a V-Ray shader, and that's it. So now what I can do is throw in a V-Ray plane, and this V-Ray plane, wherever he is right there. And we'll go to our render globals for V-Ray, and let's just do V-Ray 60 by 540. Let's create a V-Ray sun and sky. So 1, 2. And we'll just bring the intensity down. Open up our render view. And turn off the VFB. And yeah, let's do OpenCL. Let's do some GPU love. So now if we go, okay. And it looks like we have some normal issues. Now we can select the geometry and do normals reverse. There we go. So that looks good. And same thing for this. Where else? We got some bad stuff right here. And right there. What the hell's going on there? All right. Alright, cool. So I think I think the normals are good. So now what we want to do is let's stop this, and we're probably going to want to put some sub Ds on it. So let's grab this, and what I'm going to do for the sets here is I'm going to take the model geo. So anything that's underneath this node is basically going to get a subdivision. Or I can select all these pieces and do everything on this group. So if we ever add geometry to this, it's going to get affected. So if I go create V-Ray, and we're going to do a V-Ray displacement, apply a single displacement node, and let's call this char displacement. And we're going to go subdivisions, and subdivisions displacement quality. And I'll turn off view dependent, and let's subdivide 5 times, and that should pretty much be it for now. So now if we go to render, yeah, there you go. Nice smooth model. Great. And the good thing about this is if you look at this displacement set, it's set for the group, so anything that we ever add will have these subdivisions. Okay. So now what we want to do is I want to actually grab the geo, and we want to publish this as our light asset. This would be the one with shaders. So to do that, I'm going to hit the export button, and we're going to go File, New Scene. Okay, I'm going to go Import. And this is the published light file. This is everything in the scene file that we're going to publish for the light asset. So now what I can do is go File, Save Scene As, and we're going to save it as Robo Light version 1. Okay. And let's now go to the anim file and actually export the animation. So if we go anim, alright, you'll see that we're actually referencing the rig. So the first thing you do for the extraction to extract this animation data is we want to import everything. So if we go to the reference editor, we're going to go File, Import Objects from Reference. Okay, we want to keep the namespace on there. And now what we can do is go through to the non-deforming geo, everything in the set. Actually, we'll start with the deforming geometry. And we want to create my cache. And so this is going to go, let's put it over here for now. It's going to be oops. Okay, one per file. And do 300. Go create. Awesome. So now these pieces should have cache. Oops. Yeah, so here's the cache that's on there. And the other part of this that we want to do is we want to actually take the non-deforming geometry and we want to basically bake everything out, all these transforms. So we're going to select the geometry, then we're going to go here to the channel editor, and we go Edit Keys, Bake Simulation, Selected from Channel Box, Time Slider, and make sure you don't have your viewport visible. Make sure you have the outliner. It will cook it really quickly because it won't have to display all the geometry. So we go Bake. Alright, so here we have all the curves from these constraints. And what you usually want to do is select everything again, grab the curves, and we're going to go Curves, Euler Filter, and if there's any flips, this should fix it. You'll notice that with motion blur. If you're using mental ray, you aren't using motion blur, so you'll never have to worry about that. But we're using V-Ray where we can render motion blur. Okay, so now that we have those baked, we want to test it out by deleting the skeleton. You don't have to delete the skeleton. Actually, we'll leave that there. So now we're ready for the export of the FBX. So we basically have all of our geometry with the baked out curves, and we have the geocache for the deformable geometry cache set. So to do this, we're going to select everything in our anim file, and I'm going to go Export Selection. And so with this, we want to choose FBX Export. Okay, export, and we're going to call this Robot Anim version 001. And now let's go through some of these options. We want to do animation, bake animation 1 to 300, deform models, skins, blend shapes, and then right here, geometry cache file. Yes, we want to bring those with. And so what we're going to do is we're going to grab the robot char cache and constraints, cameras, lights, sure, We're going to be in centimeters, 2009, because it was a great year. And let's export. Okay, we always get these errors, don't worry about that. Now what we can do is we can test the FBX into a new file just to make sure that it correctly exported. So new scene, let's do import, and we're going to choose the FBX file, and for this let's see. Cool, so here is the FBX with the skeleton, and we have the geocache assigned, and all the pieces are there as well. So this is really good news that it actually exported. So let's go to frame 300. Great. So now let's really quickly test it in Nuke. So we'll open Nuke really quick, and we're going to go 3D geometry, read geo, and let's go desktop, robots, grab the FBX, and what we're going to do is go take one, and all objects, hit tab to go into 3D view. Alright, I guess it didn't work. Let's try it again. 3D geometry, read geo, okay. Cool. Here's one piece. Let's read on each frame, and let's scrub through. So this is animating. Let's see what happens when we do all objects. Alright, it's probably the skeleton that's in there that's causing it, but don't worry about that. We're not rendering in Nuke yet, so let's go new scene. And let's pretend this is going to be our shot. So we're going to go create V-Ray, and we're going to apply a V-Ray plane, and then let's go into our globals, and let's choose V-Ray, preset V-Ray. Then we do set that, CPU, sure. And now let's go 960, 540, and let's go sun and sky. So we'll grab her, and then bring this down. Perfect. So now what we want to do is we want to actually bring in our shaded robot with its shaders, basically our light publish, and this is what we're going to use to render. So we're going to go File, Create Reference, and we're going to find the light file and reference him into the scene. Oh wait, you know, did I reference the wrong one? Yeah, let's go reference editor. No, this is correct. Okay, so what we'll do is let's go to the reference editor now, and we're going to change the namespace to robot so it matches the anim file. So this is basically matching the same names. So if we do a quick little render, okay, turn sRGB. Great. Go back to the sun. Yeah, let's tone it down. Cool. Alright, great. So now what we want to do is we want to basically attach the animation, but we don't want anything with the rig in the scene file. So to do this, what we're going to do is go File, Import, and we're going to grab the FBX file of the anim, and we're going to change this to FBX. And now let's go to our options. So taking a sneaky peek, the biggest thing we're going to do is we're going to do update animation. So we're only going to update animation. We aren't going to add, we're not going to add an update, we're going to update the animation. And let's take a look at the options. So it's going to do take one. And we got the skins, everything. It's pretty much, these are my options. Way too many options. Alright, let's give it a shot and see what happens. So now if we import, it should attach the curves and the geocache to our current geometry. And it's going to always look exploded until you change frames. So let's right click on the timeline and go set range to min-max. And look at this. And it actually, I'm sure you can't really tell, but this is actually scrubbing through quicker than anything right now. Like if we hit play, I mean, that's great. It's simplistic. So right now if we go to our outliner, nothing's been added into our scene. And if I go IPR render perspective, actually, now if we scrub through, it does a pretty good job at actually updating it without crashing or causing any issues. And the only bad side is if there's new geometry, you have to manually open up your light asset and make those changes, but it's really clean, and I highly recommend it for any workflow where you don't have a big pipeline in place to deal with baked geometry. This will save your butt a lot. And yeah, that's about it. So thanks for watching. And you know, I guess we can try the GPU and see if it's any quicker than the CPU. So let's stop it. We go to RT engine, CPU. Let's do 128. And let's go IPR. Huh. Well, isn't that funny? Yeah, it's not working with the geocache. It's okay. Alright, next time. Ta-da.